Hi, I'm Mark Harbeke, owner of Harbeke Marketing, and this session is how to source virtual networking events from LinkedIn. About me real quick, I've been in the marketing space since 2006. I founded my company, Harbeke Marketing, in 2023, and the next year in 2024, in Q2 of that year, I leveraged what I call a virtual networking first approach for my business that resulted in that quarter signing 6 signed clients and an additional leads pipeline valued at over $13,000 that quarter. And since then, I've signed many more clients, and my leads pipeline is currently in mid 2025 valued at over $75,000. And because of that success of reinventing how I outreach with a virtual networking first approach, I synthesized this approach to lead generation and relationship building into the virtual networking to lead system, which you can learn more about at my website, harbeckmarketing.com. So LinkedIn does have an events section, but I'm going to review why I don't think it's as good as a post search in order to source networking events. So here's the current view of events, and you can reach this page by typing any search term into the main screen when you first log into LinkedIn. And then there'll be a tab for different areas like posts, companies, etc., and you can look for events. And so once you click that, you'll land on a page like this. So on the events page, you can see up here on the top left that there's no sub filter options like there is on other sections of LinkedIn, like a post search. And with the event thumbnails, titles, and description text all showing in a narrow space, it's a lot to parse out for your eyes and it can be overwhelming. And then plus, if you actually try to make use of this list, although these events showing are in chronological order, which is an improvement that LinkedIn made over the past view of this search. But if you try to click on any of these events, there's not an option here to mark that you're going to attend or add to calendar, which would be really helpful. So therefore, if you were to look at this page and go event by event, you're not really saving any time versus the next way that I'm going to show you, which is how I like to search for events. So looking at LinkedIn posts for searching for events, I'm going to review 2 search terms that I use and what to look for in the search results. So one of the search terms that I like to use in quotes is virtual networking event. The other term that I like to search for also in quotes is Zoom networking event. So there's 2 ways that you can search for events within posts. But first, using these filters, I like to hit sort by and check latest and then resort it. And for date posted, so this depends on how frequently that you do this kind of search, how often you put this on your calendar. If you're doing this every day or every couple days, you could hit the past 24 hours option. I personally like to do it ideally every week. Sometimes I miss a week, but at least every 2 weeks. So if I'm keeping up with the weekly schedule, then I'll select past week. So I'm going to do that. And you can also look all the way back for the past month. So I'm going to say past week and hit show results to refilter it. So once you've got those filters selected, there's 2 ways that I like to do it. The first way that I started doing this was just manually looking at the text of posts where people are advertising new events, looking at the images, looking at the event banners to see there's many events where you can opt yourself out, such as events being advertised that are industry specific. For example, you might see networking events that are focused on law or healthcare or different sectors. So if that's not you, you can just keep scrolling. You'll also see events that are geographic specific. Maybe you're in the US and you don't really market to customers outside of it. And the UK in general is pretty booming for the number of events that they have that they advertise. So if you're not based in the UK and you see a UK event, and also if you're not looking for customers there, then you can just keep scrolling. And then also gender specific, you'll see lots of events that are for female or female identifying. So if you're male, you can already opt yourself out of those. So that's one way to do it, is just to literally scroll, look for things like what I just said. So here's an example of this We Can Network from Amanda Russell Boyd. So that's one that's open to any industry, any gender, any geography. So you could click more, you'll see a link and you can go from there to register for it. So you just keep doing things like that. Once you hit the bottom of the feed, it'll just refresh. And then you can just keep doing that all the way to the bottom of the feed. And so that's the first method. The second method, which I tend to do more lately, is to, once you have this view pulled up of latest posts, past week, or whatever time frame that you want to filter it, you would initially just scroll all the way to the bottom. I'm not going to do that, but you get the idea. So the first step is to scroll all the way to the bottom. And then if you do that method, you would type this out, and then you can save it and copy and paste it for future searches. But you would grab this start of the link construction on LinkedIn. So if you do that method and scroll all the way to the bottom of the LinkedIn feed for the time frame that you selected, you would do a find search. So either hit Control F or Command F, and then type this or copy and paste it from somewhere into the find field, and then hit enter to search. And then you're only searching a subsection of posts that have a link. And this is helpful because some of these posts that you'll see in the feed are talking about an event, but a lot of them are cases where people are sharing past events that they've attended, sharing, photos of people that they met, and not really advertising a new event. So that's a way to still look under the post section for new events being advertised, but only filter down to the posts that have a link where you can click through to register for the event. And what I just showed you is step one of my 9-step virtual networking to lead system. Some key benefits of this system are that you can leapfrog from know and like to trust quickly, so that when you reach out to a lead using my included script, you'll generate typically a 50% or more response rate. If you're sending a truly cold email and you have no prior context for the person, a lot of recent studies have said that 10% response rate is considered really good. So with this method, where you have an event-based context for the person that you're reaching out to, you'll generate a much higher response rate. Another benefit is that you can pay yourself in lead value for each calendar booking, and you're not paying a call booking service in perpetuity. Obviously, as business owners, we have many firms like that that guarantee, a set number of bookings per month, 8 bookings, 10, 15, whatever the number is. But this is a DIY system where you can set yourself on a path and not have a service like that as a paid subscription that you're just paying for forever. And finally, you can chart your own path for sales pipeline growth that doesn't depend on things like social media algorithms for clicks or paid ad campaigns that can get pretty expensive pretty quickly. And I do have a related freebie for you to help you if you haven't done any virtual networking to get started on it, or if you have done it to expand your list of events and get more out of it. If you go to this link, you'll get instant access to my list of the top 10 events that I've found by number of leads that I've gotten from them. And I've attended over 30 different event series. And ultimately, through starting to use a free resource like this, you can build more relationships and even build out your sales call pipeline and referrals by reaching out to folks that you connect with at events. So that's it. I appreciate you watching. And if you have any questions or comments, you can email me here. Thanks.